Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today this is going to be an update video for the Micra. Now as you've guessed by the title, I'm here today to see a guy called Wiley. He runs a company called Vented, who puts vents in sort of forwards, anything pretty much that you could cut a hole in, he could put a vent in. Well obviously the Micra's not on the road, so I've had to bring just the bonnet in the wagon. And that's here for him to cut the holes in and put the vents in for me. So I'm going to get some footage of that while he's actually installing it. And then hopefully we'll have some nice shiny new vents for the Micra. A bit later on I'm going to give you an update as to where we're actually at with the Micra, because a lot has happened since the last video. I realise I haven't been uploading a lot, but that's because I've had a lot of things going on. We've had a loss in the family, unfortunately, so I've not been able to sort of keep on top of managing emotions and doing work and doing videos as well. So I've kind of just took a break out, and I do apologise for sort of leaving you guys hanging again. Everything that was happening kind of just took over my life, so I didn't really have time to sort of do everything, including YouTube as well. But we're going to start making videos again, going to start getting back into it. There has been a hell of a lot of work going on with the Micra, like I said. I haven't updated it as much because I didn't really have much interest in the videos, so I didn't think that it would be sort of a series that people would want to see. But if you guys are interested in the Micra, just let me know. I would like to make more videos on it, but it depends whether obviously there's the interest there. So anyway guys, I'm going to wait around for a minute. I'm a little bit early, about 10 minutes early, but we're going to see Nick. We're going to get the holes cut, get the vents put in the bonnet, and then we'll catch you in a bit. So as you've just seen, we just had the vents done. They're now all taped up and set in. Nick did them and he did an absolutely fantastic job. Lovely guy to talk to as well. He's got the time to talk to people. He doesn't just stand there and just get on with his work. He's really nice to chat to. Thank you very much, Nick. You did an amazing job, and it was really nice to meet you. But we're going to wait for these to dry. He said at least 24 hours. So after that's done, I'll be back and we're going to take this tape off and reveal what they actually look like. But obviously the bonnet's not painted yet, but you'll get an idea what it's going to start to look like. But I'm going to catch you in 24 hours, so see you later.
24 hours later.
I've just very quickly thrown a couple of body panels on for you, so I can finally show you what the vents have turned out like. And there they are. To me they look absolutely class. And they're going to look even better when the actual car's all painted and back together. But they're the real carbon fibre. They're none of these sort of wrapped fake stuff. They're a proper weave, which actually looks class, and they're by a company called Vented, which is Nick Wiley himself who put them in, who you saw in the beginning of the video, so be sure to check him out because he does awesome work. But I am massively chuffed with the way these have turned out, with the mesh in there as well. But you guys let me know what you think as well, because obviously it's nice to hear what you guys think of the projects as they're coming along. But yeah, that's how it's turned out. So here is the current situation with the Micra. Most of the engine's back together. It just needs sort of neatening up a little bit now, and obviously the turbo needs putting on still. This is the SR20 MAF. That needs running in line, and I've got to extend the actual sort of wiring loom for that because it won't reach, because that's its sort of maximum. I don't want it there, I want it over here somewhere. The SR20 throttle body is in position. that needs the throttle cable adapter making up and like putting in place, just like a little bracket, because obviously the old cable sits here, but it needs sort of holding in place. The inside of that's all bored out, so it actually uses all of the mil. The new inlet manifold, the CGA inlet manifold's on with the red bigger injectors. There's the lovely shiny cam cover that you would have seen on the other day, and underneath there is the 773 rally cams. Now, one of the things that you haven't seen is this wonderful silicone kit. Ordered a hose kit, and then that's all been added on now. These are the old hoses. They were all manky and sort of not up to the task, and obviously now they've been replaced with these wonderful new what's the name, like the wonderful new silicone ones that look absolutely brilliant, if you ask me, from a distance. The head's all on, obviously, as you've seen before. It is running, but it's running really badly because obviously it's not got the MAF connected, hasn't got the lambda sensor connected, there's no manifold on it, that sort of thing. The new fuel pressure regulator is on and looking smart, but that's probably just going to be a temporary install, because I've been told bad things about these particular pressure regulators, so I'm probably going to install one by a company called SARD. They're just a better brand, they're just slightly better quality and everything. What else have I been doing? Oh yeah, another thing to mention, the brand new Nissans, I can't remember what the brand is, but that's the Auto Rad, which is slightly thicker. I mean, it's not massively, but it is slightly thicker to sort of cope with the higher temperatures that will be in the engine, so that should keep it a little bit cooler. The inside is still completely bare. We haven't done anything to this basically since we've started. We pulled all the interior out, what you saw before. I've still got to do some to the interior here. Then we're going to probably go polyglass on the windows, but that's all yet to be done, because mainly it's literally just been all building the engine up until this point, so the interior is still a bit of a mess. The back is coming along quite nicely, but I'm leaving that for now because I want it to be a little bit of a surprise for when the car is actually unveiled. Well, a bit later down the line I want you to see what I've done to the back, but that's all painted and it looks stunning. It's got the graphics on there and everything, but I'm going to try and keep that a secret for a little bit longer. But obviously you can just about see some of it showing under there, but it's a little bit special on the back. I've got another little toy here, which is a emergency cut-off switch, like a kill switch for the actual engine, and that's going to be mounted on the dashboard here somewhere. But I have actually got a extension to run to outside the car, so that this can be pulled from outside the vehicle. So if we're on track or anything and the marshals need to stop the engine for any reason, they can just pull this and it will actually pull that switch and cut it. So I've got to route the wire inside the car under the dashboard, and then mount it up here on a little bracket. But I'm going to just drill a hole just through the scuttle panel here, and then underneath this there's a metal plate which is there, which I then need to drill through to allow the cable to pass through, and then I've got to tighten the nut up to actually get it to mount up. So I'm just going to crack on with that. Right, so I've just done one. So I've just done one little hole there, and that should have actually come through the second side as well. Has it? It's scratched it, but at least I know where I'm actually drilling now. So I need to take this scuttle panel off and drill that out, and then make it a little bit bigger. So once pulling that scuttle panel out of the way, I actually did manage to go through. So I'm just going to use a stepper drill now, to just get the desired sort of diameter of the hole that I need there. Right, so now that one is the right size. That's just a touch bigger than the actual threads, and that one's the right size down there. It's just a case of threading the other end of this all the way through. So to avoid getting any water in the scuttle panel, I'm just going to use one of these glands and put it into the hole, so I can actually like feed the hose through there, so it'll be tight on here, and that way it's not going to leak water into there. Don't forget to put your nut and washer on the other end of the wire before you feed it into the car. Right, so that's now fed through that hole, and under this section here, just out to here. Now what I'm going to have to do is drill another hole up here inside the glove box, top of that box just there. I have to drill it through just there so I can bring the wire through there, well, the cable. But yeah, this is a bit of a challenge, but it's going to look good when it's done, and it's going to be functional. So, I don't know whether you'll see it properly. Yeah, you can just see the red cable just there, so I'm just going to feed that through now, and then we are nearly there. So that is now through. That red cable is all the way through here, and you can see the end of it there, and obviously you've got that section there. So if I was to pull this now, you would see it pull that cable. There you go. So what that does is that goes through and you mount it up here, and then when you're driving, no sorry, if you crash or anything, someone can pull that lever out there and it will flick that off and kill the car. Now you're probably thinking, well, what if someone just pulls that for a laugh? Well, you've got two of these, so you have one of these connected to the key, you take that off and leave it hanging, and then you've got another one that you use for normal driving so that people can't just pull it and, you know, annoy you. So what I'm actually going to do to mount this thing is I'm going to screw it onto here. I've screwed it on just for now with some self-tappers, but I'm probably going to make like a little fascia plate to go over the front of there, just so it sits flush. But I'm going to have it so that the cable sits here. That'll be on the inside, obviously that'll just show through, but I need to put it in line so that it just sits there, so when you pull the cable it'll pull from this hole here, it'll pull up and it'll pull that switch off. So I just need to line it up as best I can here, and then drill a hole through there, and then mount that there. Right, so that's now drilled in as best I can. I've pulled the sort of cable through there. I'm now just got to line up a place for this to sit. Put the cable through. Oops. Put the cable end on, which are these. Put these little silver cable ends on. Trim that back, the outer and the inner, and then hopefully that should work. So what I've done is cut that little section out there, just to allow the back of this to sit in there without touching anything. And I've also trimmed this front down just a touch because it was, if it'll focus, I've trimmed the front down because it was way too long, so now it at least sits in. So now I've got to feed this cable through to there and then just cut it down to size. But this is where you really need to be careful with what you're doing, because obviously you only get one cable with the kit, so if you get it wrong it's a big problem because you've only got the one cable. So measure it a couple of times before you cut it. And it just covers the end of this red section here just to protect it, and now that sits in the back of there. So I'm just going to clip this into place and then I'll show you what to do. Right, so now that's all done, you just want to find the little hole on here, which is probably not going to focus for you, and then you want to feed that through just there. This little grommet here, you want to just back this screw out just a bit. There you go, now you can see through that hole. You want to slide that over the end of this, which is probably going to be a pain with one hand. Yep, so I'm just going to do that, hang on. Alright, so as you can see, we've got this here now, and we've got this very long section of wire. So what I would suggest you do is wrap a bit of black tape around it, leave a couple of inches just in case you need it, wrap a bit of black tape around, then trim it off, and make sure that that lock nut is as tight as you can possibly get it. So hold that with a pair of pliers and then screw that tight. Right, so just to give you a quick tester of how this works, you take your key, you put it in there and twist it until it stops. That then tensions this cable. That's not too much slack. You can see how tight I've got it. It's not so tight that it's like pulling on the actual switch, but it's not so slack that it's going to leave loads of slack to pull. Then up here now we have the actual external kill switch, which as you can see sits nicely just behind the bonnet. Now if we pull that from the outside, that then kills the main switch and the main power. And obviously if you look, it doesn't take that much there. So generally you have two keys. So you have the one, I've got a spare one of these red ones, so you can just leave that out of the way, put the other key in, drive with that one normally, and then when you're at a track you'd use this one, just so that, you know, when you're waiting at lights or anything, your mates don't think it's funny to come run, pull this connector and then, you know, kill your engine at the lights, because, you know, people like to be hilarious. So that's about all for me today, guys. I've done a bit of work on the Micra, as you've seen, got you up to date as to what's been going on. There is a lot more to come, because now we're starting to pick up speed as to, we've got the parts to put on the car, so there will be more sort of content being made. Tell me your thoughts on the vents, because I'd like to see what you guys think of them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you like the way the Mikra's going so far. If not, tell me why. If you do, tell me why. I always like to hear off you either way on the comments. So don't forget to hit subscribe, hit like, and stay tuned for more videos. Take care of yourselves, guys. Bye bye.